is that they will, and I know that the fan base wants it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think last time I was here, I asked you how you thought that your line of work had changed you since you started to that point. I want to ask the same thing on the smaller scale, since this time last year to now. Is there anything you've noticed that's changed in your line of work? Anything that's exciting?
Yeah, I mean, without boring you guys with the details, there's a whole lot of stuff going on with the actors' unions right now. The Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, which is the American Federation of Radio and TV Artists. That's been kind of going back and forth. Streaming now is starting to, there's just a lot of like business-wise, that type of stuff that the actors are very frustrated. Everything is really moving towards streaming, which is a nice segue. Thank you for me to tell you guys about Unlocked. Well, I started a company with fellow voice actor Bryce Papenbrook a couple years ago, yeah, and keep your eyes peeled because it's not out yet. We have our beta version out on the App Store now, but in our new version, it's finally going to have our Android version. In addition to that, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to watch your favorite anime and then chat with the actors that work on them, both Japanese and English, and then stream yourselves. Who in here, if you had a streaming platform where you could meet friends and hang out, would use it? Good, excellent. Who would watch it or use it to watch anime? Awesome, great. That's what I love. So yes, that's what we're building for you. We've been working very, very hard. My last year, just since the last year, I've dedicated myself, both Bryce and I have, to building out this company and to putting something together that I think everybody's going to enjoy, and a new place to really kind of meet people and hang out and meet new friends. So that's kind of what's changed in the last year. Yeah.
Okay, so last time you were here, you were talking about the series Confessionals, which I saw the first 2 episodes, then later on the Unlocked Facebook ad. Is there rumor for a season 2?
We are trying.
Okay.
We're trying for season 2 of Confessionals, which is really funny. I have to say that Jeremy and her husband John are the ones who wrote and produced that first series. If you haven't seen it, you can actually, no, I think we took it off the Facebook group. We'll put it back up on the Facebook group. Anime Unlocked is the Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. You should join if you're not there. And then we'll put it up. But yeah, we're working on it. Everybody wants a second season. Yeah. It was so much fun to do. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of YouTubers talking about a lot of the big shows, the big anime shows are getting locked down with the big companies like Netflix, Amazon, and Crunchyroll or Funimation. As far as licensing is concerned, how are you guys with Unlocked? How are you guys navigating that? Trying to get some big titles in.
Relationships that we've built over the years. So, yeah.
2 questions. One, if you could revisit a series, game, or show to do material for, what would you do? And what was your experience working on the Tales of series?
Oh yeah, Tales of Graces. I've worked on a few of the Tales. If I could go back and revisit?
Any series or show. No,
Like,
those 2 questions.
Like, how do you mean?
Like, if you could go back and could say a new season of a show you really like to do and do material for it.
Oh, you know.
What would you want to go back and do for?
I would want to go back and do more Bleach. And I know that's not a game, but I loved that character so much. And I had so much fun playing him. I would love to go back and he left off and he wasn't dead. And they just proved it, and sorry for the spoiler, but it was a couple of years ago in the manga, he's there. So I think that there's more story to be told with Bleach. That's one I would love to go back and revisit. Great question. Yes.
Okay. So have you ever done hentai, and if not,
What? What is hentai? No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know.
Oh dear Lord, I could just I can neither confirm.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, come on, baby. No. I know what hentai is. Tentacle porn? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I actually have not. I have not done any hentai. Would I do it? Probably not. Set boundaries are probably not going to lend my voice to that. That's a great question, though. Yeah, you, sir.
Prior to your career in voice acting, while growing up, did you just do voices for your family and friends just for fun?
Oh, I would torture my mother with stupid voices that I always just did.
What kind of characters did you try to recreate for them?
You know, I always, you know, as a kid, would do my impression of Bugs Bunny and all that other stuff, you know, and then what really drove my mother nuts was that every commercial that came on, I had to repeat it in the voice. And so, like, that constantly mocking what I heard on TV I was like a little parrot, you know, and so it drove her nuts. And so, yeah, I certainly did that all growing up. Purple. And then you, sir, next. Yes, Purple.
If you could narrate any audiobook, what would it be?
Would not be 50 Shades of Grey. Maybe for an 18+ panel. No, if I could narrate any book, what would it be? I have a 4-year-old daughter, and so I read her every night. Read to her. We read books together before bedtime. So I would have to say probably The Giving Tree, which is one of my favorites. I know. I'm not kidding. The first time like she was getting old enough for me to she's really understanding what it was. Like I loved that book as a kid, and I'm not kidding. I was like, tearing up when I was reading it to my daughter for the first time. Such a good book. Yes.
Okay, so usually like voice actors they usually characters that go within their ranges. What would you say would be probably the character you have the most fun with voice acting that was outside of your range?
That was outside of my range. I mean, if that doesn't sound like me speaking. Probably would be a little kids show called Botch. And I played a character, a talking rabbit named Mr. Lippet, who was talking like this. Teaching children about exercise. It's from India. And so like that character for me was a blast because then like literally I would leave the session still talking like this to everyone. You know, drive people crazy. That one I have to say was probably one of my favorites. Yes. Oh, sorry, you were next. Go ahead. Thank you.
You have a great voice.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, have you had any opportunities in any of your voiceovers to do any type of singing?
Yes, I have actually, and I don't sing. I'm a terrible singer. Now here's the thing, is that actually singers make amazing voiceover artists. And there are a lot of voiceover actors who are amazing singers. Jason Liebrecht, another guest that's here, is a singer. I think his girlfriend, Elizabeth Maxwell, is as well. But I don't sing, but I have had to sing, and I have done it because they asked me to. And luckily for me, it was little kid characters, little kid shows, and so it was like, the wheels on the bus go round, you know, that type of stuff. So it was okay if I sung off key. So, but yeah, no, and singers do make amazing voiceover artists and vice versa. Yes, in the back. Yeah.
Whenever you play characters
music got
that
mine.
kind of shows like emotional
Her, she's a voice
you
actor.
had to have like emotional
From
empathy
YouTube.
with. I mean, do you feel overwhelmed from that kind of character to do voice
I'm still waiting
Yes
for an answer.
and no. That's a good question. And what she asked me is, what's your name?
Carla.
Carla asked me, is that like, whenever like I'm doing a character, do I ever get overwhelmed with the emotion? If it's a very emotional part, was that
Yeah.
correct? Yes and no. a lot of times we don't get a ton of context, and with voiceover, as opposed to acting on stage, physically acting, if you're on stage or if you're on a movie set, a TV set or whatever it is, you're physically doing it, you're in the scene, you're doing the character. Voiceover, it's literally start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And so it's really fast, so a lot of times it's challenging to really get delved into the character as much as you would, say, on a stage performance. That being said, without giving away any spoilers, there was a scene in, I played Naze Turbin in Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans. And there was a scene that was a very emotional scene. And that scene in particular, like, most of the time we do maybe 2 takes, 3 takes. And this was the first take, and as opposed to it being just a short little snippet, it was actually a long scene that I had to vocalize. And that scene in particular, because it was extremely emotional, I really got into it. And here's what happened. Like, literally, I was like, and all of a sudden the director, I mean, I'm really into it, and I expect, you know, after I finish my performance to hear the director praising me, and I hear, yeah, we can't use that, man, that was way too long. Man, that was the performance of a lifetime, and you can't use it because I went 2 seconds too long. So voiceover, like acting for animation and video games and that type of stuff, you do tend to, it can be a little more technical. So it really is a skill to develop. On top of having the talent to actually act, you know, you need to also have to have that technical skill. Good question. Yes?
Which character was the most challenging?
The character that was the most challenging for me was Senketsu in Kill la Kill, which the end voice, like, really didn't sound that far off from my natural voice, but because they knew that it was going to be one of the year's biggest titles for the next 2 years, they put a lot of energy into the casting and directing it, and the director and the producer, Hiroe Tsukamoto, and then Alex Von David was the ADR director. They really just, I mean, they put 110% of all their energy and focus into this dub that we did. And so that, because it was going to be a big title, and because of the energy that was going into it, they must have directed me 100 different ways to do that one character. And so, like, and get this, we even went and we recorded the first 4 episodes, and I had to go back and re-record the first 4 episodes because they wanted me to change. And so there was just it was very challenging to sink into that voice that we used. And when I say voice, it really is the character's attitude and who that character was. So that was a super challenging one. That, and then Hakumen from Blaze Blue, because he's down here and talks like this the whole time. I am the white void. And so literally it feels like I've been gargling razor blades after I'm done with that one. Yeah?